This is going to be a video that might piss some people off, male and female. So, with that being said, I want to first address that there is going to be a 10% off all products on the Regal Change website. And if you want to get the link to that, it's just going to be in the description box below. I'm going to show you some products that I have available right now before we get into the topic, but I want to make sure we sweeten this up a little bit before we get started. And I want to also make it clear that I don't need you to purchase these kinds of products. I don't need you to purchase that. Like, my main focus is providing edification and just education in general on spiritual matters to empower people to prosper. That is my message. And the discount code for this 10% off, just code in general, is going to be 2024. And the whole point of this video is going to be to restore in 2024. And so some of the products that I've had made, so for example, this one is Jesus Lifts Me Up and I Crush the Weights. I've got it available in hoodies and crew necks. And I also want to make it clear before I go on that these are sayings that I've done in previous videos that people have told me that they would totally like to put that on a t-shirt and they would buy it. So I did, and I just kind of saw what would happen. My focus again is making sure that you guys are just getting the education and information you need to wake up. We've got another one here. Life begins where pain is conquered. And this is a crew neck. We've also got a Sophisticated Savage t-shirt. And these are all available. Well, the hoodies and crew necks are available in white or just black, but the t-shirts are available in white and black. We've got not a holy person, but a whole person. And finally, we've got Breathe In and Zen Out. And I've got a lot of different other kinds of products. I've got art prints available as well. But the consultations are really the main focus of the business Regal Change. But all in all, I just want to make sure you guys are aware of this going into the new year, that you guys have the opportunity to get some of this stuff at a discounted price. The consultations aren't going to change as far as prices go for now, but within the next month or two, they might be going up just because I'm getting more bookings, more and more each day. So it's a good thing, but it's also just I have to reconcile that and adjust that going forward. But with that being said, let's get into the topic for today, which is Stoicism and masculine frame, and how to hold Stoicism and masculine frame together. Well, what exactly is a masculine frame? It's bringing people into your playground. This world is yours as a man, and you have to make sure that other people are aware that, especially women, that they're entering into your world. They're not like it's your domain. You're the one that runs things around here. You're the one this doesn't mean that you're not going to listen to them. It doesn't mean that you're not going to trust them to help in a certain way when the time comes. But it sure as hell doesn't mean that you're going to give over everything that you've built to someone else. And especially in the dynamic of male and female relationships, the men has to lead. And the way to do that is to show and demonstrate competence, knowledge, wisdom, and you can do this without being a dick. You really can. I used to think that women only hated, like, or only liked men that, like, hated them or, like, treated them disrespectfully. And that's just not the case. And I've had a lot of incidents recently where specifically married women and women in relationships have taken a liking to me. And I've made sure to establish boundaries, and I've made sure to let them know that I'm not compatible with women in relationships or talking to multiple men at one time romantically. And some of them like me even more, and some of them get the gist and move on. Or there's a third option, which they try to ruin my reputation, and it's a bunch of witchcraft and such. But that's a little bit less common. The most common one recently is that they tend to want me more. And I think that the reason that this is because I'm actually setting a boundary and I'm holding to it. And this just goes to show that you as a man, when you can operate from a genuine place and a genuine perspective, ultimately this is going to not only increase your attractiveness, but it's also going to increase your ability to discern energy. And the closer you are with God, the more you're going to be able to understand how to maneuver. And something I've learned with dealing with these kinds of women, because there was one or two actually in particular where the husband was starting to try to like start stuff with me, or the boyfriend was trying to start stuff with me, and I made sure to let this person know, like, hey, this is the bro code, man. Like, this is the bro code here. I'm not going to be a house wrecker. I do not plan on that. This is not what I'm trying to do. This is not who I am. I do not want... I just prefer not to be involved with any kind of person that's in a relationship already, because I understand how much men value their women not being around or with other men in a romantic sense. So, like, I just make that clear subtly. I don't say it in so many words, but I make it clear with, like, no, this is the bro code right here, man. So it's really important, and it's vital for your situation as a man to make sure that you are being very careful with who you're letting into your life and how you're doing so, because make no mistake, something that I've learned with all of these interactions, specifically the two that I mentioned, is that I need to grow closer to and lean more on the Most High when I'm in these situations, because sometimes it can be really like just unnecessary in regard to how things play out. Like, things didn't need to play out that way, the way that they did, because there was a woman even like 6 months ago where I was talking to her, and it wasn't until like, and we were talking and we were definitely flirting with each other and definitely progressing in a romantic sense, until I found out that she was actually already in a relationship. And from then on, like, she wanted me to continue. Like, she was planning to go to me. She was planning to monkey branch over to me, and I was like, nah. We're going to cut this right now. And then you have a lot of the single women out here, at least where I'm at, where you just don't even, like, it's much better to make sure that you're just living in your own domain as a man. And I found that Stoicism is the best way to handle this kind of thing. Now, I don't necessarily preach Stoicism in the sense that it's as though you are responsible for other people's emotions, because that's not what Stoicism is. And it's not about not having emotions. A lot of people mistake that as well. But it's being able to navigate through life in a way that doesn't inhibit your quality of life. Like, you can still exhibit and exude joy despite the circumstances that have been placed upon you in a negative light. And so there's always going to be some positive in the negative, and there's always going to be some negative in the positive. That's just part of life. And I'm not necessarily saying that Stoicism is going to balance you out, because it's good to just be kind of neutral. You don't want to be going super high, super low. Like, you don't want or need that kind of toxicity. especially as a man. Like, and women are going to pick up on this. This is something I've noticed. I think this is one of the reasons why the married women specifically, or the women in relationships, have been so drawn, is because they know that, like, I'm I don't need that kind of super up and down. Like, women that want families are attracted to me. And the reason for that is because I don't need, like, I can, how do I say this? I can influence a woman's emotions, and I can be the cause of her emotions in a way that is not toxic. And that's what I think women like about me the most. And I'm only speaking about this from personal experience, but, and just from every kind of communication that I've had with other men on my consultation calls, and how they've interacted with women, and what they like, what women have responded to. It's when you are the cause of their emotion, but you're not doing it in a toxic way. You're able to, keep them high, keep them low, keep them high, keep them down, keep them around, kind of a thing. You're able to rock the boat a little bit, but you're also able to maintain a steady, firm direction. You don't place her as your line of vision. Like, she may try to get into your line of vision, but you're not pursuing her only. There's something bigger going on. And that's exactly what you need to be focused on in your frame. So, for example, because I know some people are going to ask, well, what exactly is frame? Like, how do you, like, okay, you're like, I'm bringing this person into my world, but what exactly does that look like in the conversation? How does that look? Well, a woman will try to bring you into her frame by saying, oh, we're going to do this, or we're going to do that, or we don't want to do this. And so she's subtly, like, even though she's saying we, she's subtly trying to dictate where the relationship is going. And what you can say to, oh, well, we're going to go over here, when she says that, like, oh, we're going to go to the store now. Like, if you don't want to go to the store, man, or if you don't need to go to the store, you got to just say that. Say, I don't think we need to go to the store. I don't think we need to go do that. I don't want to go do that. I would rather do this. Would you prefer this or that? And you respond with a question, or you respond with a choice. That's one way to think about it. And this can be, and you also use words that do not exhibit excessive emotions as well. You're very logical. So you speak in a way that is matter of fact. You speak in a way that is X is X and Y is Y. Because X, then Y. So, or if then statements as well. You can use those kinds of statements, because not only are you creating a hypothetical situation, but you're also providing some kind of form of logistical understanding in the woman's mind. And this goes for most anybody, and especially men. The more I've developed my own masculine frame, the more I can tell when a man has definitely developed his masculine frame. And so you're saying certain things, like, I remember one instance in particular was with my old boss from a while ago, and this is a male, and he, like, I was saying something, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I was subtly challenging the point of view and which route to take for this campaign. And I was like, well, I think we must do this because of this. And he said, well, as far as I can see, this is going to be the solution. And when he said that, as far as I can see, or as far as this is, I thought, okay, what exactly is that actually saying? Like, think about the word, because God is the word, right? God, the first was the word, and then the word was with God. So the words, as far as, or as long as, or anything of that sort, you're you are subtly creating, as a man, you are subtly creating a frame of time from your perspective. And so you're bringing somebody into the possible infinitudes of time. But even though, like, there is a frame, but there isn't a frame when you say something like that. And that's the kind of stuff that makes a masculine frame so powerful, is when you're able to provide an ever-changing experience for the other person, or like the other people around you. However, you're still maintaining a certain level of understanding of the situation that is not only coherent, but is also expanding ever so much with everything around you and in the environment, in the conversation itself. So, of course, you don't need to actually think about it this deeply when you're actually having just a conversation with someone. But you'll know when you're submitting, quote unquote, to another person's will by the way that you handle yourself as a man. How do you know that? Because you'll start to feel more like hunched over. You won't be able to stand straight with your chest out and your shoulders back. You won't be able to do that. You'll be a little bit more hunched. You'll be a little bit more like you're just gonna you're gonna be a little bit more of a shrill of a person. But you'll notice that when a woman, and this is not any of the Jezebels or any of the demonic spirits, but when a woman is submitted to a man's frame, she becomes way more soft. She's way more secure. She's way more safe. She can open up to you in certain ways. Like, you just make her feel, because this is another thing. Women do not give a fucking shit about your frame as a man. All they know is that they feel safe and secure. That's it. They don't know. They don't really understand what that is, and they don't really understand what it means for a man to have frame. They just don't, and it's not their fault. It's just it's just the way it is, and we as men just have to deal with it. So the woman will just feel more safe and she'll feel more secure, and it's not even necessarily that you're providing a certain kind of financial safety, even though that can play a factor. It's more about the internal. There's a Janis Joplin song called, what is it called? Me and My Bobby McGee. And she says something like, feeling good was good enough for me. And that's that's pretty much all women. They genuinely, I was even having a conversation with someone on a consultation the other day where it's like, these women, like, most of the time, genuinely do not give a fuck if they are doing any certain thing in particular. All they care about is that they're having a good time doing it. That's it. That's it. And you women out there that are watching this, you know it's true. You know it's true. Like, of course, everybody wants to have, like, the nice, luxurious lifestyle to some degree. Like, we don't need that, but sure, it would be nice. Like, sure, it would be nice to have these kinds of things and do those kinds of things. And, but like, as long as you're just feeling good, like you are just feeling good, you're uplifted in your spirit, more often than not, that's really going to be good enough for the right kind of woman. So, again, that's not the Jezebels, that's not the demonic spirits, but it is what it is. Now, Stoicism itself is going to play a factor into your frame. Why? Because you're, again, matter of fact. Stoicism is not about just being stone cold. It's not about not expressing yourself either. It's just about being able to roll through life, taking the punches as it comes and as they come, and not throwing a fit about it. That's really the most basic form of stoicism ever. And something that I found is the more stoic I am around women, even when I have a sense of humor. Like, I can be straight face and just have a sense of humor about it. And she just loves it even more, it seems. Like, she just loves it even more because she almost like projects certain feelings onto me in that moment because I'm neutral. She's projecting certain kinds of feelings onto me that exhibit certain kinds of emotions for her that just make her feel good. So then that way you are now the quote unquote projection or object of her feel good emotions. And that's great for you, man. Like, that, good for you for that. So I hope this video was insightful and useful to some degree. There's definitely way more to be said on this topic, but yeah, this is a topic that can piss some people off for sure. So we're just going to leave it at that. Peace be with you. Till next time.